Can we be a little bit goofy today? I have tried to film this new moon in Sag video for November 23rd, maybe 8 times. I think if I start off the video just asking for your permission, like, can this just be goofy? Can it be big? Can there be a lot of energy in this one? I feel like if I state that up front, maybe I won't feel like I have to reel it in. All right, we're just gonna go for it. So this is not editing. I'm not starting over again. Whatever comes out, I am totally trusting. Here's where I'd like to start this conversation with is the energetics of this new moon are really big. They're explosive. They're visionary. They're stepping into the new. There's a lot of energy, a lot Sag. New moon in Sag, it's fire. It's expansive. So when I start to tap into this energy, and why I've had to repeat or start the video over 1,000,000 times, is because it's so huge that it just wants to blow up my whole system. So let me feel into where I'd like to open the door first. Okay, so we're coming out of Scorpio season. Scorpio season is the underworld. It's excavating, it's shadow territory, it's the depths, it's what's hidden in the unconscious, right? It can also feel like stagnant energy. It can also feel like stuck, can't move forward. That's Scorpio season. Now we've got Venus, Mercury, the sun, the moon, all of them moved into Sagittarius for this new moon. That will feel for many of us like, oh, I can breathe again. I can move again. I can look forward. There's a visionary energy to Sagittarius. I can look forward. I can expand my thinking. I can start to step into new moon energy as a stepping into the new chapter, new beginning. I can start to step into my new life. Can you feel that? If you're feeling it, I'd love to know. I would love to know. Like, just drop a comment below saying like, yep, feeling new life. Would love to just feel. Sometimes it takes a little longer for some of us. Sometimes part of our new life is still excavating the wisdom from the depths. So this is a moment, this new moon, as everything has just shifted out of Scorpio season, it's a moment to excavate. And with Mars still retrograde in Gemini, so Gemini is the mind, Mars is our action-orientated self, right? It's the warrior in us, it's the doer in us, it's what drives our lives forward, it's very directional, gets things done, right? Is going backwards, so is still in a reflective state, revise, revision, reflect. And with it being in Gemini, it's very much affecting our mental realm, and most of us live primarily in the mental realm. So just know that that's still going on. And this moment in time where we're moving out of Scorpio into Sag, it's a moment where we can really call up the wisdom from this eclipse season. From Scorpio season. We can call up the wisdom from the depths. So those of you who shadow work, right? You work in the shadow realms, or you take underworld journeys into like a shamanic journey into the underworld to get the wisdom that's residing there. This is a moment in time where it's literally all those doors are open. We're still in that eclipse energy, which is Scorpio eclipse, right? It's all about the underworld. It's all about excavating, right? Pluto, America's still in its Pluto return. That's Hades, that's the underworld. Still all about excavating. Kali is on Uranus, right? Kali is all about bringing the light to the dark, bringing consciousness to the unconscious, bringing the truth out, revealing the truth, revealing the depths of our soul, revealing true self. So all of that's happening now is this amazing moment in time to do those journeys, but to do those shadow work, do those unconscious, underworld journeys, journey into the unconscious, journey into our deep intuitive selves, right? Journey into like Akashic records are very open, book of life, right? Akashic records, book of life, very, very similar, but to journey in and to ask for what's ready What am I ready to step into? What am I ready to step out of, right? In this new beginnings, it's always an ending for a beginning, a death for a birth, an ending for a beginning. So it's sometimes we go in this, we have this mindset of like new beginnings, but we're just like, yes, and that energy is totally there. And a lot of times it's creating the space for the new. So a lot of times it's still the letting go. It's still the letting go, creating the space so that we do have room, so that we do have a more open mind to think differently, so that we can bring in something else into our lives or create something else in our lives. Because of this, actually, let me just say this. One of the questions I am asked the most in the ReWilding community for the last 8 years has been, Sabrina, how do I do shadow work? How do I go into the underworld? How do I access my intuition? How do I get into, my Akashic records? How do I access my golden shadow? We've been talking about golden shadow. It's what's residing in our underworld, our own hidden, our own unconscious, what's residing there as potentials, as our unique genius, as what we're being called to step into, as, what is the greatest expression of self, the fullest potential, that all resides there too. So those questions, like, how do I do this? Where do I start? Like, what's the most powerful way? What's the most direct line way? What's the safest way, right? Because there's all sorts of like crazy talk around shadow work and underworld journeys and shamanic journeys, and like they can be deemed all kinds of wild things. So because of this question being the most asked question that we get, I keep saying we, it is a team effort, right? Like it's completely a team effort. But last week I put together an hour and a half, or I think it's an hour and 45-minute workshop, ReWilding Your Shadow. A shamanic journey that takes you right into your underworld, right to your book of life. You're held in a very sacred, very safe space. We work with the Shakti of the Great Mother, right, as a guide into your own underworld. I take you step by step in a super simple way right into this territory to really be able to ask any question. This is the part when this all came through, it was mind-blowing to me of, oh my gosh, you can take this journey, this ReWilding Your Shadow, this underworld journey for any life question you have. Any triggering event, like, wow, what's here? What's going on with my mom? How do I heal this? What's being asked here? What's my deepest calling? What's my genius that's wanting to reveal itself? Do I move to California, or do I move to Colorado? Do I move to Australia? Right? All of these things you can literally journey, and just know, like, whether you do this workshop or not, this is a potential area to access within all of us. You have that territory within yourself. And so maybe you have tools and maybe you have ways of accessing that. This new moon is such a good time to be going into that territory. So find the circles, find the spaces, find the shamanic drumming tracks, do your meditations, whatever it is that gets you into that territory to go deeper, right? It's deeper. You want to go beyond the limitations of the mental realm. You want to go beyond the limitations of the mental realm into this deeper territory. It's a deeper, it's like that question of like, how do I access my intuition, or how do I know my intuition from just my mind, trying to come up with, or how do I know my intuition from my safety security patterns? How do I know my true self from my false self? So finding the ways to access that powerful during this new moon window. Powerful. We're still in this eclipse season, still a very destined time. We've got Kali, Uranus on the north node. That's true north. That's destiny. That's where you're headed. That's potentials. That's where you're called to in order to express the greatest potential within you, right? That line is so lit up. I like to call it the destiny line, right? It's so lit up, and I'll talk more about the astrology in a moment, but I really want to encourage all of us to think about, and maybe now is a moment to just you could write this in the comments. I love reading the comments. I read all of the comments for at least the first 2 days after a video goes out. Always. I think it's such a gift to me. So if you want to share in the comments, please do. Or if you want to write on your own, go for it. Just take some notes. But it's like, okay, how am I during this new moon? How am I, or this moment in time, these couple of weeks, right? It's a short window, but these couple of weeks, how am I going to get into my inner world? How am I going to get into this territory of my golden shadow? How am I going to go deeper and deeper and deeper into my wisdom self, right? To access deeper truths, to access deeper truths. How am I going to do it? And just write down, how are you going to do it? I'm going to take long walks in nature. I'm going to go on that retreat. I'm going to go to yoga because that takes me in. I'm going to do the ReWilding Your Shadow workshop with Sabrina, right? It's like, there's a crazy deal on it. Like, just check the link below. It's crazy. It's $27, right? It's crazy. And it's a tool you can use anytime for anything, constantly over and over and over and over and over again. But really feeling into, what will get me there. I'd love to share this journey with you. I'd love to share these practices. They've been developing over, a decade of working in this territory, and it's kind of distilled into, boom, here's a direct line right into the shadow territory, right into the golden shadow, right into the unconscious, right into the underworld, and not to do like deep, grungy, gritty, puke it out kind of work, right? Although that sometimes emotional releasing and releasing old wounds or old pains or old blocks is something that comes up. It's something that comes up because it's what liberates you and frees you to step into your allness. So sometimes it's that, but it's not always that. We always think shadow. We think, oh my God, this is going to be horrible. I'm going to be, whatever, crying my eyes out for days or raging or throwing up in a bucket to release all the blocked emotions. No, it's not always that. Sometimes it's just as simple as going into the underworld and then you see the next thing that you are called to step into. And that's the part that I really want to highlight right now. In this Sag new moon, in this energy, it's like the part that you see as a possibility for your life. If you were going to let go of what other people thought. This Gary Vee quote came up the other day. I love it. It's so good. Go and do something you've been wanting to do that you're desperately scared about what your parents, the world, the market, your social media, I'm going to add on to that, your partner, your family, your friends, your community will think. Go out and do that thing. Just go do that. And to me, that like sums up this moment in time. Something else, just real big picture, and then I'll dial in. Like I'll dial into some of the archetypal energies active and present during this new moon. But one of these overarching energies of this moment in time is it's not a nice to have. This is how it feels in my system, and this is why I'm facilitating mystery schools and priestess trainings, and we're going to do a sacred warrior something at some point, and came up with the ReWilding Your Shadow workshop, like why I'm just on fire at the moment, is because I'm feeling this energy strongly, and you feel for what's true for you, right? Everything I say, feel for what's true for you, but let the deep wisdom talk. Don't let little self be the judge. Let deep wisdom, like wise self, be the one to discern what resonates with you. And so for me, how this feels is it's not just nice or a luxury to be able to step into our unique genius anymore. Where maybe a decade ago, it was like, whoa, you're really lucky that you get to embrace your destiny, that you get to step into your unique genius. You're really, how many times I've heard that in my life? You're lucky, Sabrina, that you get to do what you love. We don't all get to do what we love. I'm going to call bullshit. I'm going to call bullshit on that so hard, right? To me, this moment in time, this moving into the Aquarian age, this energy, this intensity that we've been in for a few years now, and we're going to continue to be in this cooker, is it's not just for the select few, right? Or you're lucky. It's not for the lucky ones to be able to step into your genius, it's that it's essential now. It's essential that we own our genius, that we own our unique expression. It is the thing that will gift this world. It is the thing that will get us out of the mess that we're in, because we've all been a herd of sheep following along with stupid shit for way too long. And so it's this Aquarian age, right? Fly your freak flag. Own your genius. Fuck off the system, right? Not in a resentful, horrible way, but it's like finding that stamina and that courage within to stand outside of the tribe, to stand outside of the herd, to not follow along blindly with all of what the parents at school are doing, right? Like, no. Like today, this is a really stupid story, but I was feeling into our conversation today and what most serves, and things always happen as I'm meditating on things, right? The world constantly talking, everything's interacting with everything, right? And when my focus is on, okay, what serves, the way I walk my dog, the animals that appear on the trail, you know, the interactions with humans, all of that like is weaving in and dancing in this cauldron and the threads, the tapestry of life, right? And so this morning I'm feeling into what serves for this conversation. And I'm on a trail and I'm walking my dog, and now the societal tribal rule is dog must be on leash, right? It's 6:30 in the morning. There are thousands of acres. I'm basically with a bunch of cows as well, right? There's trails, there's cows, there's whatever, like mountain lions, there's fox, there's all sorts of stuff out there wild. But my dog must be on a leash. Now I get why, but hold on, like let's just reel this in because I don't want to make the story take too long. But I'm coming up and I read every situation, right? If there's a person walking with a cane on the trail, I will call my dog to me immediately, put him on a leash, right? Because to me, that is the highest thing that serves that moment in time. It's how I live my whole life, right? What is the highest thing that serves this moment in time? I don't give a fuck about this stupid leash law, right? However, if there was whatever you call the person who gives you the ticket, the fine for not having your dog on a leash, right? I would go, oh, highest thing right here, put the dog on a leash so I don't get a ticket, right? But so I do care about the law, but I care more about universal truth in the moment than I care about the tribe drinking the Kool-Aid, following the herd of sheep. So here's what happens. So I'm walking and I get shamed. Like, it's a shame, right? I'm extraordinarily sensitive, right? Just like having worked how I've worked and done what I've done for a long time, right? My job is to read in, it's to read deeper, it's to read emotions, it's to read, I hear intuitions more than I hear people's words, right? I hear deep feels in people more than I hear their words. That's a deeper, truer feel for me. By the way, I think we're all moving into that. So for those of you who are really resonating, we're moving into that. Like, that's becoming our language, and that language is a deeper, truer language than what has to be filtered through the mind and then out into a language to be spoken, right? So anyways, I'm going way off on a super tangent, but I'm gonna get to the point. So what happens is this shame happens. This woman's walking her dog on a leash. My dog and I are like, we're off. We're not even bothering them. We're not near them. We're away from them. But the glare, right? The glare that's coming. And I feel my system, right? And it wants to avoid the pain that I feel of being, I don't know, illegal, not following the rules, the pain that I'm feeling as I'm getting the glare, right? This energy coming directly at me. And I'm walking and I go, okay, how do I respond to this energy with who I am now? And I was like, you know what? The greatest thing that I can do in this moment is I can actually beam this sounds so weird and it's so hard to find words for this. I hope this is landing in some way, right? Like just let this be a gift in whatever way it's gifting. But it's this energy of how can I stand in this truth, right? The truth that it is crazy healthy for my dog to be off a leash. It's crazy healthy for me to not have my dog on a leash and to be able to creatively, freely walk out in nature in the wild, right? It is the greatest thing that the dog and I have, right? And so owning that and standing so solidly in that I don't feel guilty for not having my dog on a leash, that I actually have compassion for someone who doesn't have the freedom to feel into what is true in the moment and what most serves in the moment, despite what the tribe is doing, right? That's what got kicked up on me. So yada, 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 all those stinking words to get to this point. Let me say this again, because this is the important part. To stand so solidly in my truth and to have compassion for the evil eyes coming at me. It wasn't that evil, but the shame, the guilt, right? And some of us experienced that in COVID, like when we didn't wear a mask, you were literally shamed for not wearing a mask, or you were shamed for wearing a mask, right? It didn't matter. So just feel back. This is a really powerful doorway in. This is a place that you could meditate. During this new moon, it's a place that you could meditate of, right? How solidly can I stand in, how solidly am I connected, one, to my truth, right? When I know what's serving. I know what's serving, and I know without a shadow of a doubt that it was serving for my dog to not be on a leash at 6:30 in the morning where there are like 3 people in the whole of these thousands and thousands of acres, right? I know without a shadow of a doubt. And I know without a shadow of doubt that it served for me not to put my dog on a leash when we came up to this person. I know, right? She's probably furious, whatever has happened for her, but I know. So one, what is your connection to that? And how can you strengthen that? How can you strengthen your deep, true knowing and to live from that deep place of truth? Number 2, how can you strengthen your muscle, right? Your muscle, your capacity to stand in it despite the pressures to conform. Despite the pressure to conform, the shame, the judgment, sometimes it's a look, but sometimes it's comments on social media. Sometimes it's a person saying something to you. Sometimes it's laws against you. Like you can't take public transport if you haven't had your COVID shots, right? So it's all of that, but taking this to ourselves, let's not put it external. Let's not blame the system. Everything's all crumbling anyways. It's going to continue to fall apart, but really taking it in. This is where the jewels are right now. Is to take it in and to go, okay, all right, can I practice this? How can I, one, access my deeper truths? ReWilding your shadow helps. No, really and truly though, that workshop will help. But then the second step is how can I strengthen my capacity to not be swayed, not be convinced to conform, right? Yeah, just that in this Sag new moon and this energy going forward into really owning our unique genius. Okay. All right, so we had a tiny little intermission. I had some other calls to do and some other teachings to do. So if you're feeling the energy shifted a little bit, that's why. But I didn't want to cut us off short in our conversation around this new moon in Sagittarius on the 23rd. I wanted to be able to give you some of the specific aspects that are going on during this new moon too, and even maybe some ways how you can work with some of them to, as always, get the most out of this new moon. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about Sagittarius energy, just because it's Sun, Moon, but also Venus and Mercury in Sagittarius energy. I'll weave it in with Jupiter. So Jupiter's also trining the sun and the moon. Jupiter's in a beautiful aspect, so supportive to this new moon, adding more. Jupiter, Sagittarius is Jupiter's home sign, and so really adding even more to this hopeful optimism, potentials, higher learning, seeking. There's a spiritual seeking oftentimes with Sag, or what else is out there? What more is out there? Travel, is Sagittarius energy. And so feeling into this future visions or future potentials as well with Sagittarius energy. The new moon falls on 1 degree of Sag. So if you have your birth chart, that's something you can do, is look at where 1 degree Sag is at. If not, I did a free masterclass where I show you how to run a free birth chart and how to read it. It's helpful to, if this sings to you, to look at which house the new moon falls in. So the house determines the area of life that this energy will be falling in, or where it will light up, what area of your life it will be lighting up. Like, let's say it's lighting up the 7th house, right? 1 degree Sag is your 7th house. It will be lighting up relationships for you. But if you just go look at your chart, you can look at where that is and kind of determine things and use that to guide your intention settings, your rituals, maybe if you do new moon rituals, or where you're planting seeds. Okay, enough of that. Let's talk a little bit about how spiritual this particular new moon is. One, Sag kind of opens up realms to higher learning and can open up realms to spiritual insights as well. But also Neptune's in the mix. So Neptune's doing some really cool things. One, squaring Mars, but there's also another aspect. And if I had the chart, I would be able to tell you, but I don't have the chart in front of me. But just know that Neptune's a player in this. Neptune, I always think of Neptune as like loosening our perceptions. Or let's say we have like the blinders on, and Neptune, Neptune's a very foggy energy, watery, but fog, can create fog. But if we look at it or feel into it from what is the gift here? What is the gift here? It's like letting a fog roll in, because the way that we were seeing things is not the highest way to see them. That's something that you could meditate with, is like, okay, the way that I'm seeing my relationship, my job, my whatever, can I let the fog of Neptune roll in to take me to a higher perception, a higher vantage point, a higher way of seeing things? Neptune's beautiful for that. Also, Neptune is great for spiritual practice. So just like on the simple mundane realms, spiritual journeys are really powerful right now. Again, there's the ReWilding Your Shadow, which is a spiritual journey. If you're like, I don't have a spiritual journey to do, the link's in the bio or the description below, and it's $27, at least for now. So go check it out. But any kind of spiritual practice that you're called to, Neptune's very, very supportive of that at the moment. The final piece that I want to talk about is Uranus being so still throwing lightning bolts. So I spoke in the last video, if you haven't watched the last video on the eclipse, again, that lasts for about 6 months, and we're still very much in the energy of that eclipse, and that was a Uranus eclipse. So you can go find out more, links up here or down below to go watch that video. But Uranus is, for me, how it feels in this moment is in the awakening phase. He's an awakener, like wake up to yourself. Wake up to the truth, wake up to your destiny, wake up to this, wake up to the thing that you have been avoiding or haven't wanted to see, or, wake up, it's right in front of you. Wake up, this isn't working. Wake up, you're not on the highest path. Wake up, this is really uncomfortable. Wake up, there's a rub here. And so that's a place to really feel into, where is the world trying to wake me up? What is it that I don't want to see? What do I know that I don't want to know? What do I sense that I don't want to sense? That's Uranus energy. And we'll keep throwing it in your face. Uranus is currently conjunct the North Node and Kali. We have to talk about Kali. By the way, Uranus is also in a quindachili with this new moon, so it's active. It's activated. Yeah, it's still active because it's in the eclipse, and it's active because it's on the North Node and with Kali, but it's also in really good aspect, or really alive aspect to this new moon. So let's talk Kali. Kali, let me feel for a second. So if Uranus is already on the North Node, your true north, your destiny, your potentials, if Uranus is like, wake up to yourself, wake up to this, is like throwing lightning bolts, Kali comes in and she creates a life tsunami so that you step into who you truly are. Kali energy is fierce grace. It's fierce grace. It's fierce grace meaning, I don't care if this hurts your little self feelings. There's more to you. Kali is ego slayer, liberator. So it's very spiritual, archetypal energy. I know she gets deemed as, this wild woman, dark goddess archetype. But when you get to the true essence of Kali, it is pure love, and it is a love of your true self so much that she will stop at nothing to show you who you really are. It's very, very high spiritual wisdom, but it's embodied spiritual wisdom. It's an embodied, it's the feminine, it's goddess, it's an embodied spiritual wisdom. And so it's, I'm not asking you to just be spiritual at church, or just be spiritual while you're on the yoga mat, or just be spiritual while you're meditating. It's like, I'm asking you to be aligned with who you are everywhere. The other thing is, let me feel for a second. I think that's it on Kali. I think that's it. Yeah, some of you have the Kali retreat. That's something you could walk into if you're feeling it. If you do not have the Kali retreat, it's not open right now, but a doorway into doing work in that territory would be rewilding your shadow, that particular journey, and there might even be a sneaky way into the Kali retreat. If you do end up going into rewilding your shadow, that particular workshop, I think there's a sneaky way into Kali. There's also a sneaky way into rewilding movement. We talked about that. It's not public, but it's an offering through the rewilding your shadow. So just a few little like insider things around that journey if you're called to it. Okay, that's it. I think for this new moon, yeah, that feels complete. It feels really good. I just send you a lot of new moon blessings, and if there's anything that you would love for me to dive more into, so maybe we went into a little bit of a topic around true north, or we went into dark goddess territory with Kali, or we went into something in this video and you're like, wow, Sabrina, I would love more on that, let me know. We're kind of doing this whole revamp of what it is that we're creating out in the world, what our podcasts will be, what our episodes will be about. And so would love to hear from you if you've got a suggestion, or you're just like, Sabrina, like, please do more on this, or love when you do these things. Like, that feedback is really, really helpful for us. So if you feel to, in the comments below, that would be great. It's also really beautiful to hit the like button. It just helps us a ton. And of course, if you don't want to miss anything, you can always subscribe. This way you get notifications when new videos come out. All right, thank you so much, and happy new moon to you.